Okay. Uh, I changed my shirt. So I'm gonna just check out the chat. I couldn't see it while that was playing. So let me see if there's some questions in here. Da, 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 da. Lots of good mornings. Yes, Kobe, I am semi-settled and I just moved. So this is a much better time for me to be doing these calls now. Okay, when someone ghosts you, how many times do you keep trying to reach out? I honestly, I've always been told, like, I continue until somebody says like a hard no to me. I assume the best. I assume something's going on in their life. Who knows what happens? Because over time, over the last 6+ years, um, people have come back to me that I didn't think were listening or were paying attention to anything that I was sending them, but they were. And they just never gave me a response. So I don't waste much time with it, right? I have my boards, right? I use Trello, so my boards are set up, so I know who I need to follow up with, and it's simple, right? It's a quick text. Oh, hey, I saw this meeting was happening. I thought it might be of interest to you. Let me know if you want to check it out, right? Something like that. The resources that you use and that you leverage, maybe when a promotion comes out, right? That's another easy time to talk to people. If there's a unique webinar, like, so here we have VSC of 5, right? It's Friday nights. So it's not the best for all time zones. But you can say something like, hey, I see that the founder of ASEA is speaking this week. He is someone that just, I know, benefits any entrepreneur, anyone that wants to live a better life. Would you like to come on and hear from him? I've leveraged talks that Tyler has done all the time, and people really enjoy hearing from him. And that's happening this Friday. The VIP customer group has a monthly talk, and that topic is meant to rotate to just give a reason to give a touch to somebody. Like, hey, they're talking about, the nutritional line. I don't know if Redox wasn't, of interest, but there's really powerful nutrition that this company has for cellular health. Would you like to come on and hear about that? Right? You just ask. The thing is, don't put your energy or emotion behind any attachment to what they do. It's just like part of the process. And to me, it's being professional until somebody tells me like, hey, I'm not interested. So Carol, hopefully that helps. A lot of the ghosting that happens with me is on Facebook. They just stop looking at my messages or ignore the comment that I tagged them in. So there's no bam fam in these instances because it was someone looking for help, and I messaged them and asked if they'd be interested in watching a 7-minute video. Okay, what I would say, Carol, is so in this situation, somebody online has said they're not well, there's something going on. You saw a message that they posted, and so you've messaged them privately and said, hey, I think I can help. Do you want to watch a video? What I would say is slow down, getting straight to the punch. I would instead say, hey, I saw your message. It just, it hit me in the heart. How are you? People don't care what you know until they know how much you care. And so on social media, you need to build trust. You need to build a relationship. You can go to their page and like and comment things. But be a human being first. I know that we have something that can help and we want to just do it. I mean, I've done it wrong too, right? Like all of us have. But if you're a human being first and you make that connection and you show that you're caring, and maybe you say why it resonated with you, my dad went through something similar. My best friend is going through something. I know somebody that I work with going through that. Let them know why it resonated, Carol, before saying, do you want to watch a video? Get into a conversation. And then you can say, I have something that I think could help. I believe you deserve to know about it. Would you be interested in looking at information? And then ask that question. Okay, Buffy. Yes, it's a great question, isn't it? What would you like the next step to be? Your business for sure doesn't depend on one person. Yep. Okay. So Tess, great point. When you take a conversation to phone calls or Zooms, it does help with ghosting. So if you were doing if you're in the cold market, and you're kind of doing your follow-up, the sooner you can build the rapport in a strong way, the better. And so Zoom calls are great because you get to see the person, you get to feel a connection, and they get to know you better. And you're more than just like some little message in their inbox, right? So doing that is definitely helpful. Thank you, Tess. All right, Sandra, do we suggest walk away from that person if he replies, thanks, I'm not interested? Um, and do not bring up the topic again, even if you know you can help them. I know, like Tyler says sometimes, like, leave your sister alone. Like if the person, if the person knows what they're saying no to, and they've told you no, okay, then ask for a referral. Do you know anybody that could benefit from a product like this? Do you know anybody that's really struggling with a health challenge right now? Right? Just keep asking questions. All right. See if they could be a doorway for you. And that's just what we do. If the person like has no idea what they're talking about and they're just, I'm not interested. Remember this. This was a lesson that I loved. Red, green, and rotten apples. Like if I gave you the assignment to go out into this apple orchard and bring me a basket of red apples, and you had an hour to do it, and you were going to make a lot of money on every red apple that you gave me, and you go out there and you're just seeing like green apples and you're like, what is going on? You know, are you going to pick those up? No, because they're not worth anything. I'm paying you for red apples. You're going to find a red apple that's rotten. Are you going to sit there and try and make that rotten apple a ripe red apple again? No, you're going to go, okay, there's red apples around here somewhere. Let me go find that red apple. You keep going until you find the red apple, because it's the same in this business. So red apples, you know them when you get them, because they go, I've been looking for this. Holy cow, what is this? This is the most exciting thing. I didn't know this was out there. Sign me up. I want to do it. I'm doing the business, right? It's exciting to get red apples, but they can be hard to find. Green apples are the ones that are asking lots of questions, are really negative. It's not the right timing. Like, you know, you can talk to them, give them what they need, but don't spend all your energy there. And the rotten apples, please don't spend your energy there. I mean, God bless my mother, because I was so rotten. It was awful, but she persisted. And you know, some rotten apples do turn, but in time, people are watching you. So when you don't get emotionally upset about their decision and you're like, well, I know what I know, and you just keep going, people come around. I see Edwina nodding, like people have come around a year later. You know, I didn't know they were watching, and they're like, hey, I'm ready now. What? Who are you? Like, what? And it happens. So just remember, your mission is to talk to people and find those that are interested in what we have right now. And if you can be in that mindset, right? It's like the flight attendant walking down the aisle offering pretzels and peanuts. She doesn't care if someone says no to her. She doesn't care if somebody's sleeping and then they call later and say, hey, I missed the pretzels and I want one, right? That's her job. That's your job too. And so just know what you're doing in your follow-up. Be clear on what you're looking for, so you don't get so emotional about everybody saying no or not right now. So I don't know if that answered your question, Sandra, but hopefully it did. Edwina, my doctor says this is rubbish. Yes. What does your doctor know about ASEA? It's one of those questions that we all have to ask at some point. All right. So Kobe, I had a person who was interested, but later on she said, no, thanks. It's not something I want right now. So I asked her why not. And she asked, well, it doesn't give me the value right now. Is this the end of the conversation? Oh, well, I would ask a question like, well, what were you hoping that it was going to bring you? You know, what are your needs? So find out, right? She's telling you the issue is there's no value in this product. Well, she clearly doesn't understand what the product is, right? Because we all know this can benefit everybody. So I would get clarity. Well, what were you looking for? What's going on with you? You know, and then be able to explain how Redox can help. And Kobe, of course, I can help you with that once we get clarity on what her issue is. Yes, Edwina, every objection can be responded to for sure. Feel, felt, found, Carolyn. Yep, it's like, oh, it's like gold. Once you have the structure, I know how you feel. Like, even if like maybe you don't, you know that somebody has felt that way. Just, hey, I know how you're feeling. Like, just get on their level. It honestly, like, people soften after that because they feel like you care, because you do. And so it's not fake. You're just going, okay, I get where you're at, right? And then see what next step you can take with them. All right. Yes, 20 minutes. I know, right? That was pretty good. I was excited yesterday when I recorded it. All right. Lots of ghosting. Yes. I've heard that oftentimes it's 7 touch points process to onboard someone. Do you agree? I do, Maria. It can be many. And I think it varies based on personality types, right? You have, if you guys are familiar with personality types, you have red personalities. It's a small percentage of people, but they're straight to the point and they're like, tell me the bottom line and I'll make a decision, yes or no, right? That's a small part of the population. But they're great. Those are leaders. But it's hard to get their attention. And sometimes they come off a little intense because you're like, I mean, it's happened to me where I'm like, okay, but don't you want to know like what redox is and how it works? No, Danielle, just give me the product and I'll know if it works by my own body. Okay. Right? You gotta just sometimes be with where people are. Then you've got blue personalities who are like tons of energy and they're like, I don't care about the science. I just want to have fun with it. And like, let's go. They don't need maybe all those touches. Like, it's just like, is this going to be fun? Great. I'm in. Right. And then you've got the green ones, the analytical ones. That's how I was. I was like, show me the science, show me this, and let me talk to this person. Let me talk to that person and blah, blah, blah. But the cool thing is I learned that the speed with which someone comes into your business is typical of the speed with which they go out. So a lot of times these like happy blue personalities that bounce on in, they bounce on out to the next shiny thing. It's amazing to witness. And the ones that are slow and analytical about what this is, once they're in, they're in. I mean, the decision is made. So they stay with you. The last personality type is the yellows. They want to save the world. And so there's a lot of yellows in SIA because it's a very heart-centered company. So they're the masses. I think 35% of the population is that. It's the largest percent. But realize that in your follow-up, right? Just the best thing I can tell you is take yourself out of it. Take your own ego out of it. Take your own, it should go this way out of it. Just like be present with the person in front of you and figure out, what are they actually saying to me? Like, what are the needs that they have? And how can I help them see how I can meet their need? All right. That's all really sales is, right? It's just helping people make decisions that are good for them, giving solutions to people's problems, but you got to find out what their problem is before you give a solution. So ask a lot of situational questions. How long has this problem been going on? What are you looking for life to be like in 5 years? How are your kids' health? Like, just ask questions and get to know people. Maria, that was a long-winded answer to your question, but hopefully that helped. All right. Thank you all for the compliments. You're so sweet. I send several times info via email, but they never give any reaction. Can I mail them back? What's interesting, Kobe, is that conversation is key, because sometimes when you don't have any feedback, you don't know where to go, right? You feel lost and confused and like, I'll email again. And now I'm just spamming them. This book a meeting from a meeting, right? If they have said, give me information, say, great, when would it be good for us to talk? I got a lot going on. I don't want to miss it. Patrick and I are going to be up to whatever. Is Friday a good day? I'm free at 2. And actually get the date set before you send the email with information. Okay, that's it feels maybe a little awkward, but eventually you'll be very comfortable with it. I know I was super awkward about it when I started. But got drilled into my head. I read GoPro and it was like, that's what you got to do. Okay. So know when you're going to circle back. And that way you get some feedback, from the person when you connect and talk. Because yeah, you're right. You don't know where to steer the ship. You have no idea what's going on. So you need to maybe ask a direct question. Have things changed for you? Are you still interested in learning about this, or has something changed? That could be the email. If you have this person's phone number, call them. Phone calls are always the best. Or a voice memo, right? Emails, you can't do that. Yes, Mom, they said, thank you for not giving up on this gem. That's right. Diamond in the rough over here. Thanks, Mom. It was not easy. No, I was not nice. So, all right. Analogy, flight attendant, yes. How do you follow up with a prospect who is also marketing other stuff? That's a great question. Because when someone is passionate about what they're doing and they're engaged in that business, timing's everything, right? We know that in network marketing, a lot of times companies don't make it, or for one thing or another, things fall apart. So having a relationship with that person. So for example, I was at a Ray Higdon training in Florida several years ago when I lived here. Now I'm back, but I met a woman. She was like by herself at the training. We invited her to come sit and have lunch with us. And she was marketing, what was it? Avon, Arbonne, I think something. Anyway, she lived in France. This company wasn't even open in the country that she was living in, but she was marketing it online. And I thought that's interesting. So friended her on Facebook. We have just been in touch for years. She messaged me out of the blue 2 weeks ago and said, hey, I want to try ASEA. What do you recommend that I buy? And I was like, what? Like, what? You know, and so we've been in a conversation. You just never know. So people that are already in network marketing, form a friendship. I tell people, hey, I'd love to learn what you do to have success. Like, what are you trying? What does your team teach you? How do you deal with this situation? Like, form a friendship around like the industry, because you never know where things might go for them. And ASEA could be a home in the future. Also just the product. Like, there's a lot of people in network marketing that love, you know, to take the product of other network marketing companies. Edwina, did you want to say something to that? Please do. Hang on. I have the controls over here.
Okay. So when you deal with someone who's in another company, first, always respect their company. The first question I ask people is, how you must be doing very well. No, I just started. Oh, I'm earning a 5-digit income. It makes a lot of difference where they are. If you're talking to another diamond in their company, what's the likelihood they'll join you? Pretty low. Okay. So be a good friend with this person, exchange your business tips. Is your industry friend, is your industry colleague. If one day they hate their company, they may join you and become a great runner. But if they don't, be happy together. If they say, I just started, I love my upline, I love my company, they're not going to join you. They're in the honeymoon stage. So be a friend. And if you are more successful than them, you can be a little mentor, be generous with business tips. Like, I met someone like that and I shared her a business tip. And she's like, may I have your number? Can we be in touch? Because she felt that I could give her value. And then she felt a little bit bad for asking. I said, what is your product about? You could send me some info. You say, sure, you know, I'm sure you're happy in your company, stay there. But if you know people who my product can help and my product is not competition with your product, you know, just send them back my way. I will support them and take care of them. And I will work something out to give you a commission back. I will work something out to do that. So for people who counts return, that registers. For people who's just very loving, it doesn't matter. But I have said it in 2 different ways, right? And then I got her onto my group chat, onto my broadcast list. She's seeing testimonies every day. And that's the end of my journey. I stopped. That's my green apple being watered in that little broadcast group. So back to Ewan's question. If someone is interested to do 2 companies, ASEA do allow that. Then it's basically co-marketing. You have to decide what their product is and what they want to do. So if you feel that you don't know how to answer that question, very simple. Pass the buck up to your upline. Somebody up the line will have an answer for you. If not, they can't sit that chair. So that's my long and short of it.
Genius. I know. I just want to hear your answers to these questions. So thank you. Okay, I'm going to keep going through the chat. So looking at, this is a great point, Edwina, of course. So asking someone how they like to consume information is key, because some people like video, some people like to read, some people want to be able to interact and ask questions. Some people just want to hear stories. They don't care about the science. So you have to get clarity on what type of information someone would like. Ask the question, so then you can match the hat much, much better. Okay, Edwina, it's also good to give you understanding on how to facilitate their education process. Yep, I stop explaining redox in depth when I meet certain types. That's exactly right. They actually purchase on the spot compared to the past when I confuse them with info. Yep, a confused person does nothing. Okay, Stephanie, when someone wants to move fast, do you take the time to watch the first touch video with them? When someone wants to move fast, hang on, can you unmute? Because I don't fully understand your question. Go ahead.
So in the cold market, when I reach out to some of the women, they're in kind of a dire situation. Some of them are. And so they're like, I had a recent one and she was just like, I just want to buy it. And I was like, let's watch the video real quick. And I just felt like it was part of what I needed to do, but I wasn't even sure if that was the right next step, but it felt right to me.
Yeah, sometimes it's like a trust your gut. That's part of what it is. It's just like seeing what the human in front of you needs, and doing that. If someone just wants it, sometimes we catch up to people, like people that are just like running, right? They say ignorance on fire. That's okay. You can educate them in the process, right? Buy the product, get the product, great. Before it comes, I'd like you to watch this video, or I'd like you to learn this. I'd like you to come on to hear, a Q&A. Whatever it might be, right? We have tons of resources at our hands. So it's figuring out what would be good for them. Just, hey, I'd love for you to talk with Lynn. She's the woman that shared this with me. And it would be wonderful for you to hear her story, and she can help you understand how to get started, right? So the context could even just be about getting started on the product. Then you preface, to Lynn before you get her on the phone, hey, this lady actually doesn't even know what it is. She just trusted me and she said yes. So if you could also give her a little bit more insight and maybe invite her to take a look at some information. Whenever you can get a third party on the line, sometimes it can't happen in the order that we want. We just know all the pieces we should eventually have happen. You don't want to slow the process. If somebody's ready to rock and roll, don't put a blockage in their way. Right? Some personality types will just walk away from you if you do that. It's like, that's not what they wanted. Give them what they want, but then, help them continue to learn.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Edwina, is your hand still raised? Okay, can you unmute? There we go.
Okay, I want to take that. Today I did a three-way call, and I don't like to sell someone something when they first found out. I feel insecure, they have not seen enough. So I think I lost a lot of sales in the past because of my stubbornness to educate people the way I like science. I'm a green person, right? But I realized people are different. So today I asked this one question. It's the first time I ask it, but I think it's quite smart. I say, what do you hope the product can do for you? Oh, I think I would like a bit more energy. I would like this, I like that. And I felt very comfortable because I know the product will do that with very fair expectations. She's not expecting something very unrealistic. I say, oh, if that's what you want, then I guess you probably will see it. And why do you want it in such a hurry? Oh, because I'm seeing my mom later and I want to get it for her before she leaves. Okay, then we know we cannot delay it, right? We just got to get it out there. But I say, all right, after we end the call, could I just send you a short 10-minute video so you know exactly what this is about? And if you have questions, we can just go on talking about it. But we got your order in. Yeah, sure. Right, so it's about follow up before, follow up after. You can just keep moving. But Stephanie, you should just go with her gut and let her start the product, but follow her up closely. Yeah, because I had done a lot of, you need to look at this first, you need to attend that webinar first, and in the end, they say, oh, I don't understand the webinar, always too long, oh, I'm not free, and I could never get that fire back. I really lost a lot of leads that way. Yeah, so the now is right. You should go with them and let them, but follow up closely with them after that.
Awesome. And Fred, go ahead, ask your question.
Hello. Hi, how you doing? Can you hear me? Good, cool. All right, so my question was sort of like along the lines of what you were saying. If a person, say, wants what they want, one bottle, but one bottle is not really going to set them up for success. The likelihood of them having an experience, but they may say something along the lines of, well, I only can really afford one bottle, and they didn't express interest in the gel. How would you handle that? Because you want to give them what they want, but at the same time, you don't want to set them up for, failure and not getting results with trying one bottle.
Well, typically I wouldn't. So I just never give away a bottle. I say, look, there's a money back guarantee on it. So, you can get 2 cases of product and get a refund on it. So that gives you 8 bottles that will essentially be free if you don't see what you want to see. I also say, look, if you can't afford it, there are ways to get the product for cheaper. Is that a conversation that you want to have? And I will start talking about and open the door to the opportunity. Typically, if someone is objecting to something, their initial objection isn't the one. So if they're saying I can just afford one bottle, sometimes when people say the afford thing, they know it just, people won't pressure, right? Because they'll get uncomfortable talking about finances. It doesn't faze me. Like I will say, okay, well, should we talk about then a way that you can afford, to get all of it? Or, then if they're like, oh no, I don't want to, then that's not the objection, right? They might not believe in what the product's doing. They might not have the conviction of the value within it, right? Price is an issue in the absence of value. So when I get an objection like that, it's clear to me they don't understand the value of it. And I kind of come back to that. But there's ways, again, the return policy, and then also a conversation about the business. And I would say I don't sell a bottle. We can do a tube of gel and I can tell you how to use it properly. So that's kind of where I'm at. If it's like a breathing issue and they're going to be like nebulizing, it's like a different story, but because you don't need as much. So Edwina, I'll let you address that.
Thank you.
Okay, we have all been taught never to sell a bottle. And I was very stubborn. I did exactly that in my first friend. He bought a bottle, he didn't see any result, and he never came back. And months later, when I got a bit stronger and confident, I went back to him. I said, hey, would you want to continue to look into it? I said, no, I don't want to. Why? Because it didn't work. But you only use one bottle. Yeah, exactly. It didn't work. So after that, I never did sell a bottle until after COVID. Yeah, until after COVID. A lot of people were having very tough times, especially if the currency is very small. A bottle can already be half a month's pay. So I started to ask two questions. Why do you want to buy a bottle? Oh, I buy just to support you. Please don't sell it. Okay. I buy to try and see if it works. Please don't sell it. So why do you want to buy a bottle? Two, what do you hope to see from a bottle? Sometimes I get comments like, I'm not sure if I can handle the taste. I'm not sure if my daughter will drink it. I don't want to buy a case and lose the money. So I want to do it's like buying a sample, you know what I mean? So depending what they tell you, you will know how to follow up. So I have people who are buying a bottle at a time as like an installment plan to afford it. Then we start to talk, say, this is not a long-term solution. Can we look into the business with you and stuff like that? So like what the nurse said, once you know a lot of the why and what they want, you could go into other conversations. But for some people, maybe that is a fair way to start if you have a follow-up plan for them. But if we say, I sell you a bottle because I'm afraid of my friend, and I just want to say yes to them because I can't say no to them, then that's not a good strategy. That's what I did when I first started. I was afraid to sell a box, and therefore I just go with the flow, And I think till today, I still couldn't get the person to buy another box from me. Yeah, so do that. If they say, oh, I'm not sure if it will work, and say, well, one bottle, you only convince yourself that it's not going to do much, and it tastes horrible. The first bottle tastes the worst. So after I said that, I go, oh, how come that's the case? Then I could talk a little bit more about what the product is about. And I say, if you really want to test the product, will you use the gel? Can I bring my gel and meet up with you and put it on someone you love who have a pain or discomfort? And you can then see if it does what it's supposed to do. So I will use the gel to show a validation for free instead of then buying one bottle to try to validate it. Okay, back to the now.
Awesome. Thank you, Edwina. So Stephanie asked in the chat, what happens if they ghost you after they sign up? I know, isn't that like the most puzzling thing? It totally is. So, happens to me too. Happens to all of us. I am just pleasantly persistent. I just always assume the best. They bought the product, they're interested in it. So I just consistently, at least once a week, I am sending information, right? I use the customer group on Facebook to tag them in things. And then I also send a personal text. Hey, I just tagged you in something. Hey, did you see this? Hey, would you like to come to that? Hey, what's your experience been? I'm just always asking questions. And I continue to, even if they don't answer me. So I never stop. It's not like it's an annoyance thing. Or eventually, I'll just say, hey, is everything okay? I haven't heard from you. Like, what's going on? Like, I have someone that bought an entrepreneur pack from me and then just crickets. Like, I have no idea what's going on. And it's, it's been 2 months. And so finally, this just happened this week. I was like, hey, I am very worried about you. Are you okay? And what's going on with your health? And that's it. And they responded. And then they said, oh, I stopped taking it. And, I'm taking this medication now, so I can't. And so then it was a conversation about like, oh, well, you can. And, we got back into it. So again, I'm just pleasantly persistent with questions and I continue to follow up. You can be like, it could be a phone call, it could be a voice memo, it can be a text, it can be a webinar link, it can be a, hey, I saw this video and thought of you. Hey, this testimonial made me think of you. Like, get creative with what you're saying and doing, but just always assume, you know, the best, and that person just has a lot going on. And if they're a very sick person, like we all know what sickness does to us, and you can lose time, you can lose a lot. So Stephanie, I know you work with a lot of sick people, so that might be what's going on. Okay, lots of great tips about the one bottle question. Yes, it's true. Different markets, pay is different. Yep, that's true, Edwina. Thank you for that point too. Yeah, some people just they don't need the touches. Like they're like, I'm good. Like just like leave me alone. So you can ask somebody. Like I preface and I say, hey, I'm going to be in touch with you once a week as you get started with your product, because I want to make sure that you are having a good experience. If something happens, you know, and you're confused about something, please reach out. Feel free to reach out. Don't wait for me. So set up a feedback loop and set up the expectation, right? That's like, hey, I'm going to be doing this. Like I have a girl, she's brain injured. She has a brain injury and she's in California, and her sister referred her to me. And, you know, she said to me, Danielle, I'm really sorry. Sometimes at the end of my day, I'm just so exhausted. I can't even respond to your message. And I get it because I was in that situation. And so I just said, great, at least once a month, I'd like to have a 5-minute phone call with you to just check in. So I'm working with what, you know, she needs. I still tag her and stuff. She says, I keep your posts for when I feel good. And then I look. So just have a clear communication. Like communication solves all problems. And the better questions you ask, the more clear it is. Edwina, I love this. So tell people to contact you if they don't feel well, if they're not seeing results, if they'd like to cover their costs, or they have doubts or concerns about the product. That is amazing. So thank you. That's fabulous. Yeah, guys, that feedback loop is key. And those are the things you tell people to contact you about. Your business will get so big at one point that there might be so many plates spinning. I would love it if every single day you all had customers just signing up. Like Verta said, one day we'll be order takers once people realize what ASEA is. So in that situation, you need to set up a feedback loop. So do it now, practice now. Buffy, I would also tell them that I wouldn't expect them to have an expectation of success after one day in a gym because the body takes time to have some indicators of improvement. Yes. What if your customer has been on the product for a few months, but they don't think it's working and want to stop auto ship? Using it correctly will see results. I like to invite an experienced person to speak with you to see if we can make it work for you. That is exactly, there we go. So pretty much just take that from the chat and say it to the person. So, yep. If you use it correctly, you'll see results. So why don't we get an experienced person on the phone and figure out how we can make this work? Yeah, awesome. Guys, what a full evening. Wow. So thank you all. And I appreciate the questions. I appreciate the conversation and the perspective, Edwina, from you. So really excited that next week, Edwina is going to be talking to us about how to collect a decision, which is so key. I cannot wait. So we will see you guys next week. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. I'm going to stop our recording.